Anderson Speedway was built in 1948 by Joe Helpling. 17-degree banking asphalt track, and it has been known as the fastest quarter-mile asphalt track in the world.
I think it's a fun track. It's awesome. The high bank and the speed, you can run the car on the bottom or put it up top and move wherever you want and set up runs like that using the momentum of the bank.
These guys are really good. They finesse. They know when to go, when not to go, when they can beat the next guy coming.
Yes, it's anyone's game. The 23 is the fastest, but something can break.
It's in my blood. With the fun factor and this figure eight, I have a lot of fun doing it, and I just enjoy being here, and I enjoy the opportunity to do this.
Welcome to Anderson Speedway. This is home of the world's fastest high-banked quarter-mile oval. We're just right outside of downtown Anderson. This sits on more than 35 acres, and this place produces some of the best racing action that you will see anywhere. In fact, the drivers say that driving these cars is like flying a jetliner around a gymnasium. Just think about that. Tonight, the International Outlaw Figure Eight Series, they're going for the national crown, and Stephen, this will be 75 crazy laps.
Lindy, thank you very much. Lindy Thaxton will be on pit road for us throughout the day. Hello, everybody. I'm Stephen Cox. Welcome to Anderson Speedway in Anderson, Indiana. Before we get started here, let's talk very quickly with Bill Noel, who is our tech official, and also Charlie Hargraves, who owns the series. Lindy?
The race tonight, which is the national crown, one of the longest running races ever, had been pretty much stock cars in the past. They used to have a ton of cars here for this in the 60s and 70s. This year it happened to go to the Outlaw Figure Eight IOFS division.
It's kind of a funny story how I got started. Dave Sink, who's the track photographer up here, I called him looking for some photos, and he said, well, why don't you guys run up here anymore? And they used to travel these cars back in the 90s, and it kind of went away. There's one track around here that runs them. And one thing led to another. We got a race up here on July 4th of '08, and it started from there, and we come up here now about once a month. So the series, it started off as just innocent looking for photos, and now here we are, 4.5 years later, and we got a big series going with 20, 25 guys, go to 3 or 4 states every year.
And they draw a lot of people when they get there. A big crowd on hand here at Anderson Speedway for the IOFS Figure Eight National Crown. Here's how they line up. Eddie Van Meter blazing fast, about a second on the field. In the number 23, Charlie Hargraves outside row 1 in that number 36 white, pink, and black machine. Mike Riddle Jr., look at the bright orange number 49. He lines up inside row number 2 alongside Jeff Shackleford, the leader of the Shack Pack. Row 3, Chris Green, the bright green number 22, and Jeremy Vanderhoof in the number 6. Inside row 4, it's Ronnie Rose from Racing Family in the number 88, and Josh Tharp outside row 4 won this event in the number J2. Row number 5, Jeff Swinford, number 3, and number 7, the bright yellow machine. You're on board right now with Jeff Heiser. We'll follow him with his onboard camera throughout the event. Row number 6, Sean Cullen, number 2, and Kenny Boggs, the number 18. Kenny is the crew chief for Jeff Heiser's number 7. In row 7, it's Larry Swinford in the 2P and Ronnie Phipps in the number 66. On the inside of row 8, it's the number 93 of Bruce McFall. He sits alongside Danny Stanley Jr. in the number 11. Row number 9 is Manny Aguilar, number 17, and Ben Tunney did not qualify for this event. He has to start toward the tail in the number 5, but he is always fast. Look for a charge from Ben to the front. In row 10, all by himself, the number 18 of Jedi Cluxton, and we are ready to crown a national champion for the IOFS Figure Eight 75-lap event. Yellow laps will not count. The green is out right now. Let's see who can grab the early lead going into the first turn. Hargraves on the outside, and Eddie Van Meter will come out on top. And you're looking at, I believe, the 28 machine. That's Jeff Shackleford in third right now, or fighting for third position. Let's take just a few moments and check in with Lindy Thaxton. Eddie Van Meter is uber quick out here. She had a chance to talk with him.
I'm with Eddie Van Meter, driver of the number 23, and you've been on a tear as of late, from what I understand, sometimes a second or two faster than everybody else. How are you doing that?
Well, we just got a real good bunch of guys, and they work on it every day throughout the week. And when we show up at the racetrack, we got our stuff pretty well together, and that's what we come for. We come to win, and we don't care about money or points or anything else. We care about trophies.
And man, that is a great onboard shot from the yellow number 7 of Jeff Heiser. It just gives you a great idea of what things really look like right there at the crossover as he starts to work his way through lap traffic. And we're very early on, but look at the number 23 of your leader, Eddie Van Meter. He is already working his way through lap traffic as well. So he is on a tear this afternoon, and we're going to come back and pick up with Eddie in the lead, Charlie Hargraves in second position, and Jeff Shackleford in third when we come back to the 63rd Annual Best Way Disposal National Crown. The 63rd Annual Best Way Disposal National Crown is brought to you by McGonigal Engine Performance and Fields Auto Parts. We welcome you back to Anderson Speedway, where Eddie Van Meter has really been in control of this field, as expected. You know, he's got a fantastic team, and he gets clipped by the 18 of Kenny Boggs. Now, Kenny Boggs is into the wall, but the 23 of Eddie Van Meter apparently doesn't have a flat rear tire, which kind of surprises me that the caution flag is going to come out for Kenny Boggs. Now, you see Kenny sitting over in the number 18 machine on the left side of your screen. But let's take a quick break here right now and go down to pit row. And you know those big distinctive wings on the back of the cars? Lindy tells us about them.
All the cars have to go through tech before they can even get in line to qualify. So what are they looking for in tech? Well, really not that much. There are no regulations on these cars except for the weight. They have to be 2,400 pounds. So other than that, they can have any setup. You're not going to see another car that looks like this or a setup like this. They are all different. Now, one thing to take note of, unlike an oval where you would have some offset, you don't have that here. There's an equal number of left and right turns. So the driver is seated in the center of this car, and that's also for safety reasons. Another interesting feature on this car, and really the most defining, is this side wing here. It's designed for better handling in the turns, and you'll see them all different heights. Some might be down here, some might be double the height of the car. Really, the only rule is it can't be too tall that it hits the flag stand when it goes by. The height really just depends on the way the driver likes the car set up. Again, it's just better handling in the turns and getting the fastest race car that you can.
Thanks, Lindy. Those big side wings are one of the most distinctive features that separate figure 8 cars from open wheel modifieds and late models. Well, we're ready to go back to green, and in my book, Eddie Van Meter just got away with a huge potential problem when he got clipped by Kenny Boggs. He has not had a tire go down, so he's back out once again in front of this field. 75 laps. The total distance for the 63rd Annual Best Way Disposal National Crown. And look ahead, that's the 88. Just ahead of him is the 7. That's Jeff Heiser, who's carried her onboard camera. And Eddie Van Meter is going to have to thread his way through this traffic. He's already lapping cars once again. And you know, the quarters are just tight through here. And oh, there's another problem for Eddie Van Meter. He gets into the back of the 7 car of Jeff Heiser. So while Van Meter continues to beat up his tires, let's talk with Jeff Heiser about his crew chief, Kenny Boggs, who's now out of the race.
He's been my crew chief for probably 25 years, and this year we decided to cut him loose, let him do some racing. And luckily the 7 car hasn't been malfunctioning any, and we've been able to let him go out and play, and it's working out for him.
Well, that tire is going down. He's not going to get away with this twice. Look at the front right tire of Eddie Van Meter in the 23 car. It is going to, in fact, it's worse than going down. It's about to come off the rim, and so this may bring out a yellow flag. In fact, he's going to make sure of it, and that's a smart idea. Eddie Van Meter, here's what he's doing. He has stopped on the race course to deliberately bring out a yellow flag. Now, he's going to lose a lot of track position, but he will not lose a lap. This is his opportunity to go down on pit row, where Lindy will cover the pit stop. That front right tire, Lindy, is causing him big problems.
Race leader Eddie Van Meter in the pits on a surprise turn of events. It looks like he was struggling with a flat tire. They're repairing that now as quickly as they can to try to get him back out here. This is the guy typically about a second faster than everyone else, really the favorite to win this race, losing valuable time back in the pits right now.
Well, Lindy, it wasn't a very smart move to get into the back of Jeff Heiser. However, it was a brilliant move for Eddie Van Meter to create his own yellow. That is not against the rules. If he had spun or kept going or something like that and not brought out a yellow, then he would have been losing laps. Well, he's not going to lose a lap, and that's going to help him tremendously as he heads back out into the field. You're going to see him move all the way ahead of all the lapped cars. So he stays on the lead lap. Meanwhile, another development. The guy on the outside pole, Charlie Hargraves, has some kind of a mechanical problem, Lindy. He appears to be out of the race now.
Charlie Hargraves, this is your favorite track. Heartbreak for you here. What happened?
Yeah, the car was good. We had it set up for the long run. We were just biding our time, and we tried a new rear suspension on it and just ripped the paint-on bar out of the frame. So never seen it break like that. That's how much bite we were getting. So thought we had a flat tire. It turned out it was something worse, but we'll come back next time and get them.
Don't have time to repair this?
And now we ripped it all the way out of the frame, so we need a welder and some bars and everything else. So we'll have to watch this one.
Come back next year.
Thank you.
So Jeff Heiser, he gets hit from behind. Charlie Hargraves is out of the race with a busted frame. And Eddie Van Meter has a front right tire that goes down. And guess what? Mike Riddle is your leader at Anderson. The 63rd Annual Best Way Disposal National Crown is brought to you by Bochette Timepieces and by Lawrence Towing. Well, this was unexpected. Ben Tunney in the number 5 should have been a guy who was tearing through the field to get back to the front. Instead, Lindy says he's done.
Ben Tunney made it about halfway in this race, and then what happened?
We were a lap down early, caught back in traffic, and on the yellow flags I was noticing the car started to run a little hot. The engine temperature got up to around 235 to 240, and on the green flags usually it typically goes down when you pick up speed and more air gets to the radiator. And I ran a few laps in some traffic, and when I got going and looked back down at the gauge, it was up to 260, and I was already a lap down in a bad track position, and I just pulled off to save the car and the engine and stuff, and then figured I'd watch the rest of it from the stands.
Well, that's a rough way to end your day. So Ben Tunney is out. Mike Riddle is up front as we expect to go back to green flag racing very, very soon. We're at the halfway point at the 63rd Best Way Disposal National Figure 8 Crown, and Mike Riddle leads them back to green, being chased down hard by Jeff Shackleford and Chris Green in those two green machines. But look at the blue car at the tail. He's running about 4th or 5th right now. Sure enough, that's Eddie Van Meter trying to fight his way back into this thing. Mike Riddle up front. Again, this is a very, very tight battle here. It's the battle for first. Now it's a three-way battle. You've got Mike Riddle in the 49 up front. The 22 of Jeff Shackleford in the green car. He's being followed and all the way down on the inside. That's Eddie Van Meter. Gets into somebody again. Jeff Shackleford is spun out, and Shackleford had a real opportunity to try to win this race, and there's more contact between Chris Green and Eddie Van Meter. Wow, so just as you thought that Van Meter was going to make a clean run back to the front, he gets into Shackleford. Shackleford is spun out. We'll find out whether that car can continue again in just a few moments. But right now, let's check in with Jeff Heiser, who's running about the middle of the pack in the number 7 car. And you can also see the banking here at Anderson Speedway and hear the squeak of those tires as you come off the banking. Now, here comes the leader. That's the 49 of Mike Riddle. He gets in the back of Heiser, and Heiser goes straight into the wall. Wow, he didn't just hit the wall, folks. That's the worst place you could hit. He was clearly punted from behind by the leader, Mike Riddle. Let's take a look at it again, because you can see Riddle gets a little bit loose and tries to find a way around, and right here is the contact. And Heiser will hit the abutment that separates the turn 4 oval track wall with the entry and exit for cars as they come and go off and on the track. And you can see the water that got all over the windscreen of Eddie Van Meter as he goes through the wreckage. I'll tell you, if Jeff Heiser is not sore right now, he will be tomorrow morning. No question about that. He's going to get a big round of applause as he climbs out of that car, but he is going to feel that in the morning. The front end of that car, the Nerf bar, completely caved in. So Jeff Shackleford is not happy. Jeff Heiser is not happy. In fact, look at Shackleford. He's coming up and taking it out on Eddie Van Meter. He is caving in the right side of that car. And remember, just moments ago, Van Meter is the guy who got into the tail end of the 28 and spun him out. So Jeff Shackleford really upset. And look at the right side of Van Meter's car, completely caved in by Jeff Shackleford, who says, look, I'm no longer in contention to win. I've gone a lap down. I might as well have some fun with this and at least let Eddie Van Meter know I am really not too happy. Well, that's a pretty clear message from Jeff Shackleford telling Eddie Van Meter, hey, buddy, I had a chance to win this thing, and I'm not too happy about it. The Shack Pack will give him a great big cheer, and Jeff Shackleford will make his way off this race course. Meanwhile, we're trying to clean up the Jeff Heiser accident as well in the number 7 car. So let's reset everything for you all over again. We're at the 63rd Best Way Disposal National Crown. We've got to clean up a huge mess in what on the oval would have been turn 4, where Jeff Heiser smacked into the wall, and now we find Lindy standing by with Jeff Shackleford, who is also out of the race now.
Jeff, what was going on with Eddie out there?
Whole car was hooked up, as I explained to you yesterday. We was going to sit and ride 50 and turn the wick up with 25 to go, and Van Meter's got a much faster race car, a lot more money in it. Not crying, but I tell you what, we don't get mad, we get even.
What were you doing when you got out of the car?
Oh, I tell you, I like to pump these fans up. I got a lot of fans here. We call them the Shack Pack, and they come in full force, and they root us. First, last, or a good crash, I get on TV.
Will you come back next year?
If they'll let me come back next year. I don't think I'm done playing Demolition Derby quite yet.
Well, he's honest. He said nothing like a good crash to get on TV. Mike Riddle still leading this thing in the number 49. We'll come back to the National Crown right after this. The 63rd Annual Best Way Disposal National Crown is brought to you by Jerry Steele Auto Sales and McGonigal Engine Performance. And we are running out of laps in the National Crown this time around. Mike Riddle Jr. is your leader. The green flag comes back out, and he is being chased down by the bright green number 22, driven by Chris Green. And guess who comes out of nowhere to take over second place to the inside? That's the blue 23, making more contact with another driver. That's the 23 of Eddie Van Meter. So now the race is on big time because we are running out of laps. This race is almost over, and he has a lot of ground to make up. But look how quickly he is catching Mike Riddle, who is caught in traffic. Riddle now just ahead of Eddie Van Meter. More contact to the inside as we only have 2 laps to go. This is the battle for first. And Mike Riddle in that bright orangish red number 49 is trying desperately to hang on. With a lap and a half to go, he gets sideways, and Eddie Van Meter goes down to the inside, and he will take over the lead if he can make it stick. Wow, what a comeback with just 1 lap to go. Eddie Van Meter has to hang on, work his way through traffic, be smart, stay ahead of the 49 of Mike Riddle Jr., and he can win the National Figure 8 crown. Just 1 turn to go. The checkered flag is out, and Eddie Van Meter has done the not just unlikely, but what looked to be completely impossible. After a flat tire, after an accident, after a yellow flag, he comes back and takes the win in the 63rd Annual Best Way Disposal National Crown. Chris Green in the number 22 will come up and congratulate the winner. Chris will finish in 3rd place. Mike Riddle was in 2nd. But let's check in right now with Lindy Thaxton. She is awaiting our winner down in Victory Lane. Lindy?
Your 2012 National Crown winner is Eddie Van Meter, who people expected it could be, and he's climbing out of his race car right now. And this was not an easy battle for him. He made the pass for the lead on lap 73, did not lead this entire thing like people thought that he might. In fact, he was back in the pits with a tire issue for a while, had to come back out and fight his way out to win this 2012 National Crown. The crowd celebrating with him, and here he comes off of his winning race car. Congratulations, Eddie. And that was not easy for you. You had to come back and fight for this thing. How'd you do it?
Well, we knew it was going to be rough. Some guys just need to get a little bigger mirror on their car and they'll be all right. But car's good. It had some problems there. And you know, I knew when we had that caution there that we was in pretty good shape. So just thank all the fans If it wasn't for them, this wouldn't be possible.
Where does this rank on your career achievements? It's got to be high.
Yeah, this is probably one of the biggest races I've won. It's an honor to come up here and win this at Anderson. It's a huge event for this place, and it's just a huge honor for us.
Well, we'll let you go celebrate. Congratulations, Eddie Van Meter, your 2012 National Crown winner.
You know, Lindy, I guess the real question here is for second place. I mean, does Mike Riddle Jr. look at this second place finish as a huge victory or just nothing but another frustration?
We're with Mike Riddle, who came in second. And did you have any idea how close Eddie was getting behind you there at the end?
I knew how close he was, but I just tried to make good laps. I messed up one corner coming out of there. Just tried to hit my marks and just got in the gas too soon, got loose. And I'm just a little disappointed right now. I've ran this race many times and I've lost it all kinds of ways. It's the first time I've lost it that way. I just hate to lose. And Eddie's a great driver. He's got a great car. Everybody was picking him to win, and it's not always the best car wins every time. So, you know, just a little disappointed.
Congratulations on your second place spot.
Thank you.
Chris Green finished this National Crown third, and it was a rough race out there. Are you happy to be where you're at?
Yeah, I'm happy to finish this race. There was crashing and dirt flying everywhere. Come home third. I mean, we'd like to win it, and we had a shot at the end. Tires kind of gave up, but we'll take third, I guess.
Yeah, and your teammate had a run-in with the winner, Eddie Van Meter, and here you are out there battling him. Was that in your mind at all?
I didn't see what happened. I didn't know there was altercation between them two, but me and Eddie have our own altercations before, so we'll keep it between them two. I have to ask Shaq what happened.
Well, what do you think of Anderson Speedway at this point?
I love Anderson Speedway. I wish we raced here more than we do now. It's a crazy race. It's fun, exciting, and we'll be back.
Rough one out there. Well, congratulations on your third place finish.
Thank you.
Well, once again, Eddie Van Meter did not win any popularity contest here at Anderson Speedway, but you know what? He won the National Crown. No argument about that, with the number 23 running point, Mike Riddle Jr. in second place, and Chris Green in third position, followed by Ronnie Rose, Sean Cullen, and Jeremy Vanderhoof. This has been a barrel of fun. You sure can't complain about a lack of entertainment when you come to Anderson Speedway. Thanks for joining us. For Lindy Thaxton, I'm Stephen Cox. We'll see you next time.